First, approving the minutes from the 16th. Did anyone see any errors?
I didn't.
Looks good.
All look good to me.
Do I have a motion to accept?
I accept them.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Meetings are accepted. First up is Linwood Ambulance. Hi, welcome.
Hi.
You want to give us a little rundown on why it jumped so much?
Well, several reasons. First being that we haven't had any kind of an increase in our subsidies since 2017, so that's more than 5 years. And since 2017, we've had the COVID pandemic, which has cost us a bit of a problem. And this year, of course, the inflation rate at 10%. There is over a 70% turnover in the healthcare industry, period. So finding volunteers, finding trained EMTs and paramedics is a huge problem at the moment, all the way around, to the point where backup services are also a problem should we not be able to answer one of our calls here in town, a second or third call out. So all of that has required us both to raise what we're reimbursing our volunteers, and at the same time, because of the pandemic, primarily things like a box of gloves, which we of course wear gloves on every single call, have gone from $3 a box to $33 a box in the last year and a half. So reasons like that have made it very, very difficult to keep up with the budget. On top of all of that, we continue to have an increase in our call volume. Year over year for the last 5 years, we've gone up every single year. I've just done the November statistics, this being the 30th. We are up still for this year over 30 calls from previous years, from last year. So our call volume is going up. Half of those calls are non-reimbursed. So they're calls for service where we provide care to Woodstock residents on scenes. And then because for various reasons, after providing care, we don't transport those patients, and therefore they're totally non-billable calls to start with. So that accounts for almost half our calls just right off the bat. The remainder that are billable are the reimbursement rate from the insurance companies and from the federal government and so on is running someplace between 40 and 48%. And therein lies the problem.
Are you asking for the same amount of money from Lincoln? Is that how that works?
Yes, we are.
Okay,
We always have.
I just assumed that, but I just wasn't sure.
Yes, we do.
Does Loon contribute anything?
Not a dime.
They contribute patients,
Yes,
and most of them have income.
Well,
Yeah,
they contribute about 120 calls last year. Collecting from them seems to be a problem because insurance companies from out of state don't feel an obligation to pay for in-state services. We have any number of patients who have theoretically good insurance from places like Massachusetts, and the insurance companies simply say, we're not obligated to pay in New Hampshire. We run into that on a regular basis. I'm not sure how it's legal, but everybody tells me it is.
Can you go after the person you transported?
We could, but it winds up needing a lawyer in small claims court, and then by then the collection isn't worth what we would have gotten
Right.
for a small, for a small volunteer service. We just don't have the personnel to do that sort of thing.
Well, I think it's reasonable. Any questions? Okay, thank you.
We appreciate your support. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up is the police.
Which sends with apologies that he could not be here this evening. So basically, with his budget, his payroll, he had already kind of figured out, the percentage that would close to the percentage that the selectmen are proposing for all departments. So you'll see that. And then his, police operating expenses is up, that $2,000 for the, special squad. He's got 3 officers, whatever pictures that they don't even have. And then other than that, the capital reserve, he's working on a grant for body cameras, or would like to. It cannot be an item in the budget per se for the grant, so that's why we're putting it into capital reserve, and then as soon as the grant comes through, the match for that will come from the capital reserve. Yeah.
Is there a way that we could see? Free case for overtime? Break that out. So we can know, this is what a regular pay goes out, and this is how much we're spending overtime. It's doing one time.
Is that, is it coded differently in the?
It's not coded.
It's
differently,
not.
But it all goes into the same account.
It goes into the account.
But I can, it just gets charged to the same account. I can manually I have to manually add each officer from our payroll, but I can do it.
I think we should see it for all departments, not just, I'm not just picking on the police department, I think all departments should. It should be stated so we know, well, how much we're paying overtime.
Yeah, we can look into that.
In his letter, he said he projected 1,600 overtime hours.
Yeah, I think he does.
Had
He kind of,
1,730 of them.
I think he kind of does say it in his.
It's pretty accurate to review, because I read some.
Yeah, he has it right here last year.
I still think it should be separate in the budgets, just so that you can really see what's going. But, I mean, that's up to us, like,
We can look into it and see how time consuming it is to pull it out of the, since it's not an
Just-
individual.
I don't have to have a separate line item. I can just come in here and tell everybody.
but I think public should know also, not just us.
It's published in the annual report.
It's not
No,
broken
it's not.
out, but
It's
if
not.
anybody has a question, they can always walk in and do a right to know request or just ask us and we can get it to them.
Yep.
All you have to do is ask and we'll happily provide it.
So this is a dumb question, possibly, but I remember a couple of years ago, they were asking for another officer. And the select board said, prove to us you need one and come back next year. And then they never
They did.
asked for that officer again.
No,
did
they got it.
Oh, they
did.
did.
Yep, they have
And
6
then-
officers.
So now they've got overtime of 1,700 hours. Would it make sense to just hire another officer? That's a. You work 2,000 hours a year and you get 1,700 hours of overtime.
But I don't think they haven't had a full year that they've been fully staffed.
Right.
We've had people away at academies, we've had,
No, I understand
know,
that. I'm
one
not
was a-
saying that they're
was a
not, I'm just like,
part-time.
does it make sense for them to like start thinking about maybe adding another officer? If it's, I know it's too difficult right now.
well, maybe, but I
So
think
they
they gotta
can't
have
find
like a
people.
full year to look at what they have with everybody maybe present.
Yeah,
Cause they haven't, like, cause Kevin has talked about this. But he hasn't had a full actual year.
of all. of the
People have been
staff.
out with COVID, people
Right.
have been out with, people have been out with, at the academy.
Right,
We
they've
were
been out
running
doing
on,
training and.
then we were running with part-time officers until we had full-time.
Okay, so they don't even have a real full year of what's.
I don't think so. What do you
Okay.
think?
No, they haven't. And then also you take into that consideration, you're right, as far as like hourly rate, that would probably line up, but then when you take on health insurance benefits,
Oh,
retirement,
right, then you're.
and everything
adding all that
else,
stuff
then
in
you're,
together, so,
then you're
yeah.
blowing it right out.
Right,
So
so it's 6,100.
I would,
doesn't
yeah,
it?
I would continue as we are and see.
Yep.
Yeah, I just wanted to, enforce, they do have a, part-timer in the wings that's incredibly qualified and, but because of the cut back on the, training, and so forth, this guy has to wait until the summer before he can actually get requalified. He was a 15-year officer in, Manchester, and also a vast military background too. And he's actually a training officer for a lot of fire, police departments, so they do have that coming, but as of right now, he has to wait because of the training for full time, even part time.
It's very hard to find an officer right now.
Yeah, I
According to-
figured that, because last year they were almost impossible to.
Well, yeah, I
find
think you'll
anybody,
see
right?
too, like Kevin
He put
attached
a letter
of
of
what-
Winchester, yeah. He said that.
you know, they're trying to steal, everybody's trying to
Right,
steal
right,
operators,
each other's
often, are,
offices.
you know, offering 20,000 sign-ons and.
Take your car home, yeah.
Oh, same thing in the ambulance, it's just.
All the way around in all businesses.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think he does kind of look at that though, Kara, it just, he wants to get a full year to.
mhm.
It's a good team over there right now.
Any more discussion? Next up, emergency management.
Let's see, there's no.
No.
Okay, moving on to fire. John has requested that we talk about the truck first, which is. Here at the bottom, I found. We should be looking at the letter from Public First National. Is that what we're looking at, John?
Here, you can take. I put one in your box too, I didn't even grab it, here, you use mine.
Yeah, I gave you a price first of. 454 and some change, but then I get some information. This is Russell Smith. He's the salesman for Bulldog, the truck we're looking to buy from. So I asked him to come up. He can explain money and why there's so much money and why it could possibly be more come March and stuff. So if you don't mind listening to him for a few minutes, explain.
Hello, so. Like all industries, there's a lot of. Flux going on right now, especially like you heard about the ambulance box of gloves going from $6 to $33. Now take that and put that on a fire truck, which runs hundreds of thousands of dollars. And it's been a multi-issue problem. COVID shutting down plants, truck chassis not being manufactured, has added to delays, which we have inflation, but then we've also had a problem with the government now giving all these communities money for COVID to spend on programs. Emergency vehicle apparatus is included in that. So what's happened is these communities that need trucks have gotten a huge influx of money and they're placing orders, which is now backing up all the other issues. So if you want a truck chassis, now if you wanted a custom truck, you used to be able to get a custom truck in about a year. We're now 2 to 3 years out. Truck prices are made of commodities. Commodity prices, the price of aluminum has gone up 200%. So we're seeing, I'm working with a community here in New Hampshire. We offered them a demo ladder truck that we had 2 years ago, $825,000. They voted to repair the truck that they had. Now to fast forward 2 years, they need to replace that truck. I'm building it currently, I'm at $1.5 million. And I'm only halfway through it.
With half a truck.
So that's what's going on in the industry. I mean, in 2 years, the truck has doubled in price. Add into the fact that you have to get public approval in March. The price that we quote in October is probably going to be different than the price that we quote when you order the truck. And the problem is I can't 100% tell you what that price is because I don't know. Because what's happening is the chassis manufacturers are they're increasing their price, passing on to the manufacturers. we've been working with our manufacturer in this case, which is Faust Brothers. The quote that we provided in October was $458, $498. I'm sorry, $454, $650 is what we were quoted back in October. Quotes used to be good for 90 days. They're not good for 30 days. So this morning I reached out to Faust. I said, I need the updated pricing. We got lucky. So far, we've only gone up $3,848. So now we're at $458, $498 for the truck that we quoted. And I don't know if you folks have seen it, but I did bring a drawing of it. So this is that's the truck
I
that,
think we have it.
Oh, we
Okay.
do, we have that.
Yeah, that truck, okay.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what's going on. In my discussion with Faust, we feel pretty confident that that is going to be the price of the truck when we get to March. What I'm recommending to the chief, and I recommend to you folks, and I've recommended to every other town that I've been talking with, pad that number by 10 to 15%, because what I don't want to have happen is the town votes on it. The money gets approved, they go to order the truck, and now I have to tell the chief the price has changed. And now he has to come back to the town and say, we need more money. That's not gonna be good for anybody. What I'd rather have is saying, we've got the money, we didn't spend it all. Because I honestly can't tell you what the chassis manufacturers are gonna do, or if the price of aluminum go, I can pretty much guarantee it won't go down. But I don't know how much more it's gonna go up. If you look at Wolfboro, they had a contract for a ladder truck. They came to the town and said, we can't even start building your ladder truck until you give us another $250,000. That one, my understanding, is going to court. We're trying to prevent a situation like that. And we've been very good, our manufacturers have been very good at adjusting their prices as they go along, but that's what we're hoping for, is to give it enough of a pad that you're not running into where you have to go back to the town and ask for more money, because no one ever wants to give more money.
So in the letter, there's an option 1 and an option 2. Is option 2 added with that?
Yeah, so,
15%?
yeah, so the interest rates, that's another thing that will be changed by March unless they can get it locked in. As interest rates will fluctuate. The option 2 is add 12% to that original price. But the problem is that original price is no longer correct.
Got it.
That original price has gone up by 38. So we can rerun those numbers. But that second financing option, I had them include that as a 12% addition, so you could see what the payments were to help you with your decision of what you'd like to do.
So another 15% would be 76,381. 509. Then at 12%.
Well, if you say if on average, it's gonna go up $4,000 every month.
He's saying to put a pad on a pad that 509,208 by 15%. 10 to 15%.
No.
On the
Adding the 450.
Oh,
The 450.
it's down here.
And actually, the number,
Okay.
the new number is now
Like,
458,
So this is the-
498.
is the new number, right? So it's
Okay,
up
so
an additional
it is-
$4,000.
Right. Yeah, sorry, didn't mean to scare you.
So I'm watching her, I'm like, what is? Well, I was starting to have an anxiety attack.
So
'cause-
that second number already has a 12% added into it.
So the 509.
Yeah,
Oh,
that
okay.
has 12% added. We went in the middle between the 10 and 15, we went with 12,
So basically, we're looking at the 509.
Yeah.
You can budget.
roughly, yeah. I mean, potentially,
Yeah.
I'm hoping it's gonna be the 458,
Cost.
but I'd rather be err on the side of caution than not. 'Cause I live in New Hampshire too, so I go through this with my community, and no one ever wants to pay more money.
You better be safer than sorry, though.
Yeah.
I would go with
They want the fire department there when their house is on fire.
If I may ask, What's been your experience with leasing? And it does say that there's no upfront.
So,
like it can be.
and that's what this Republican, that's our financing company, so that is a lease purchase option. And so I think that you can, I think they break it out, you can go 5 years, 10 years. That is a lease purchase option. So that is
When you
basically,
say lease purchase, what do you,
so it means once you basically, instead of paying for the truck all up front,
Mhm.
you have the truck, you own the truck, you're just making payments on it, and then once the payments are made, it's, you own the truck.
It's yours, it's
we
not like a
own
car.
it, we don't have to
Right,
go
it's not
back.
like a car, you don't have to turn it back in. No, they just, in the fire truck world, fire apparatus, they call it a lease purchase, because normally when you get your truck, we get the full check for the cost of the truck.
Right.
By doing payments, they call it a lease purchase.
Okay. Just want to be sure.
It's basically finance.
Yeah,
I'm just curious, there's no upfront, cash outlay, but how much can you put towards?
You can put down what, yeah, you can put down whatever you want. So if you want to put a down payment down, you can do whatever you want for a down
Then
payment.
lease finance the rest of it.
Yep, yeah, that's completely up to, you know, how you want to do it. If you have a pool of money that you want to put down to make the payments less, that is perfectly acceptable. The company that we work with is pretty flexible, and they're able to work with you to get the product that's right for the community.
Are we planning on taking any out of capital reserve?
we usually do. We usually take a good chunk of it and then we finance anywhere between like 160, 65 to 200, we end up financing. That's our norm.
So that there really hasn't been money put away every year just for the pump.
Yes, sir.
Oh,
Yeah, there is. There's 300.
There's 300,000. 300.
Yeah, I was looking at there.
Yeah, there is just.
Yeah.
So you're just gonna,
Yeah.
you're gonna play with some of that.
No. Oh, this is a cumulative, it's
So
not
it just matters what the selectmen choose to put down.
It's fire truck reserve.
Finance.
right, but then when you
Yeah,
look
it's a
across,
fire.
there's fire truck reserve and it says pumper tanker. Then it says fire truck reserve, rescue truck, ladder truck, and they each have their own numbers next to them.
I wouldn't, yeah, and those numbers are definitely way off base right now, so. Hunch on.
We only have 305 in there.
So we're just looking at the top one right now, and we have 305,000 with the 20,
But no,
no, we have 300,
you have 203,
we
right?
have 203,000,
You
right?
have 203,000.
we have to raise another 305. If you wanted to fully, right, if you wanted to fully fund that capital reserve, you'd have to be putting in 152,000 a year. For the rest of the next 2 years to fund that truck.
Oh, okay.
You see.
Yes, thank you.
The one nice part about the lease purchase option, there is no payment due for the first 1 to 2 years that you have the truck.
1 to 2 years, because right now we will appropriate in 2024 and make our last payment on the,
Three.
what is that, pumper,
engine,
whatever it is. So that will be your last payment, would be 2024 on the truck in here.
And we wouldn't have to pay on this one till 2024.
Right.
So you'd be making 2 payments.
And that's why we started it now, because like you said, some trucks are out 2 to 3 years, so that's gonna put us into 25, 26 if we don't do something.
Right
Probably
now,
this year, but not pay for it.
right now, depending on chassis delivery and chassis allocation, Faust Brothers is the manufacturer that builds this particular truck. They're looking at a year to a year and a half delivery time. But like I said, that's dependent on a variable that we have zero control over, which is Kenworth's another chassis in time. We've been having pretty good luck as a dealership getting our trucks from them.
So the 18 months is from date of commit. So if we commit
Delivery.
18 months from the date of delivery. So if you're saying you're not gonna deliver until June of 2024, that actually means 18 months from then would be the first payment. which
That
would
is,
be
I can get
20,
clarification of that, but that is my understanding.
Which then we wouldn't have two payments in 2024.
Right.
Right,
I will get clarification from the financing company on that, but that's my understanding of that. Because
That'd be great.
that was it, like, sure.
But once
That's just-
John can sign an agreement with you, the price doesn't change. So once he enters, once he
So-
enters into it, if it takes you 18 months,
Yeah, I mean, once we sign a contract. In theory, I'm hesitant to say absolutely yes, because I've seen it happen at other companies. The Seagraves example, Wolfboro, they have a signed contract. And they've come back to them, they didn't price their truck rate, and they came back to them and said they need another $250,000.
look,
See, welcome to our problem.
so he's signing an agreement with you to purchase this truck for 509,208.
Mhm.
That gives you the authority to start building the truck.
Mhm.
18 months later, John has committed to this 508. I mean, it's not his fault if things start right, you know what I mean?
No, I understand, and we look at it as, yeah, we have a signed contract. My problem is I can't speak for the manufacturer, we're the dealer. So I don't know if the manufacturer's gonna come to us and say, hey, we need more money. I don't know that.
Ross Brothers.
But isn't this 500 something like, you said 15% over what it costs?
Right, that's what I'm saying. If
Like,
we
that's what I'm
had that
using
number,
that number.
Oh, you're using
we
it.
should
I'm
be,
using that number.
we should be fine. Based on the conversation I had with the manufacturer today, they have factored in any possible price increases. So
If
we,
it was to
509 holds
increase
that.
even $4,000,
Right.
we've got it in.
For-
now.
Well, you
It's
got that, but
well
if it
padded.
was to come back with a substantial number like
well,
that,
that's a ladder truck. That's
Okay.
that's the like $1.5 million truck that I'm been talking about. That's a ladder truck. It's a very different truck.
But we're also hoping that it doesn't take 18 months to build
Right.
the truck. We're hoping to get this within, a year.
Yeah. Faust Brothers is pretty quick, but we like to give it a little extra
Right.
time because nobody likes surprises. So we just try to be upfront and say, look, it could take.
so what happens if you have a contract that you committed to for 509 or whatever those people did, and you come back, say they came back, you did to Wilbur.
Fortunately, we haven't had that problem.
$1 million.
We haven't had that problem.
He only signed a contract, so technically he could get out of it.
Yeah, I mean, the example of Wolfboro is going to court.
Yeah, I could see why with
Yeah,
that,
that's going to
honestly.
court. But and like, we've never had that problem because we anticipate things, and that's why we're saying we need to add a little bit of money to that, because we don't want to have that problem. Because it's not fair to you, it's not fair to us,
Right.
and it just makes everybody miserable.
What a crazy world though, huh?
This is unprecedented.
It's,
This
wow.
is absolutely unprecedented. The amount of time to get trucks. I'm just glad you're not asking for an ambulance.
Behind you.
Because we're an ambulance.
on that.
We're an ambulance dude. Right now, if you wanted an Osage ambulance, you take delivery of it at the end of 2025.
Wow. What, how much have they
You wanna
increased?
start ordering your ambulance?
They're up to, I've been quoting ambulances from $350,000 to $450,000.
What was the norm back before?
That's about right.
No, but what was it before? Like,
All before that, 150.
150, 175, 200 for an expensive one.
Yeah.
wow,
It's
wow.
the last 2 years has been insane.
That engine we bought in 2018 cost us $400,000. Lincoln's looking to buy one this year, and it's gonna be similar to what we have at $700,000.
This
And just that, I mean, a couple.
2 years ago, this truck was $250,000-300,000.
I don't know if it adds to
It's not gonna get any better.
No, Game just bought 8 cruisers. And they've been waiting 9 months for them. They
We're-
finally came through missing half the chips that operate the things inside the cruisers.
Well, at least they can get it. We're still waiting on 3.
Like heat and light and things like that inside the cruisers.
Yeah, the little
Even without the chips.
We have 3 cruisers sitting that
Yeah.
they keep canceling our orders. Yep, for 3 years.
All right, I don't wanna hold him all night, he's got a 2-hour travel back, but if you have any questions,
No.
he can answer, or.
Thank you for coming.
Oh, my pleasure.
We already mentioned this letter.
Yeah.
Get back to John or Judy about the financing that.
Yep,
18,
in fact,
that would be great.
I will make a call to
Oh,
her
you
on my
can do
way.
that.
Oh, no, they're out in Indiana, she's still working, so I'll make a call on the way home
Okay,
and just double check on that. I'm pretty sure I'm accurate, but I'll only made you
okay,
and
great.
let them know.
Thanks.
But if you have any more questions that come up, let them know and I'll try to get answers for you. Like, I
Wonderful.
live in Durham, so it's not that far for me to come up here.
Okay,
So,
Great.
but thanks for having me.
No. I wrote all over your stuff.
You did that to me too, you just gotta
I'm
go.
gonna go
keep
here.
going it. You just did that to me, so maybe there was a blip in the internet.
Yeah, I lost power at home a couple times today.
Okay. Looks like. The budget is just up for payroll. I'm not talking about capital outlay.
Right. Yep. Right now, payroll this year, I'm probably gonna be a little over, and, part of that is, I can say that we changed our pay schedule. Usually we were getting paid once a year. Now we're every quarter. So last December is in this year, so we're doing payroll for 13 months this year, and that's why, one more month is gonna put me over payroll this year. So, and then I upped it up to 60 because of, I don't know if they're doing percentage raise this year.
Yeah.
And then also I had 4 new members, and 3 of them, I believe, are gonna be, so far, they've proven to show up to every call, and I think they're gonna be high call numbers, so it's gonna bring it right up there. And, I can't tell how many calls we're gonna get this year, or how many people are gonna show up, but I just wanna be on the safe side, and that's why I upped it.
So it looks like the combi tool came in less than what we expected, is that? What
No.
that is?
No,
It's a different piece to it.
Yeah, last year was the combi tool, which was 17,000. This year, it's a PCU cutter, 50 cutter.
Okay,
So it was, when he quoted me prices last year, it was 12,400 or something, but he said to put in 10 to 12% a year, so that's what it brings it, why it brings it up to 12,009. So there's like 5 pieces to this whole tool system. We're getting the batteries, operated tools, and so I'm doing 1 tool a year, so we don't have $100,000 rescue tool price.
what is on the equipment on the capital outlay on the 5-year projection? It has a purchase price and then it has an estimated replacement cost. What, I don't understand.
It's just, he has it, where is it? It's just a form that's you.
Basically, what we're purchasing it at in 2022, that for top one, 16,718. It's life expectancy is 15 years, and in that 15 years, the replacement cost is gonna go up 8% annually.
That-
So in
And that was
In
before the
20
world we were living in.
2037, yeah, 2037, we could be looking at 40,000 for that same tool.
Got it, okay.
Wow.
And that's, the outlay of trucks. There's no sense in putting a price on them.
No, we might as well take that off now.
I can tell you when the trucks are doing stuff, but as far as telling you a price, you just heard right there that
Right.
we're gonna be so far out of the ballpark that I don't know what to tell you.
Is there a contribution to the capital reserve? Is it enough?
Well, with the fire equipment, we usually finance. It's not like the other pieces of equipment that we don't finance, so we typically offset. That's entirely up to,
We did increase, you'll see, we increased from last year to this year.
For the fire equipment.
Yeah,
yeah.
and that one we pay outright usually for the apparatuses and. I can't remember.
So
what the
basically, the
apparatus-
capital reserve needs to be enough for a down payment.
Pretty much.
Okay. Any other questions? Thank you, John.
Thank you, appreciate all that you guys do, and thank you.
Thank you.
This is all yours.
Yeah, I have a copy of it in your box.
Okay.
Good night.
Have a good night.
Bye,
Thank you.
John. Good night.
Anything else to come before us? I was just wondering what happened at the school board meeting on the.
So they tabled, the vote on that formula. We're gonna run some scenarios, that looks at, because the valuation on Lincoln is at 70%. So we're gonna run some numbers that kind of raise their valuation up, 250,000 or whatever, so there can be some, ideas on how that would affect them. To make sure that it still stays balanced and fair between the two communities. Because basically the 30% ADM and 70% valuation as it stands right now, based on current numbers, is more fair. Or more equitable. Payment for both their tax impact for both communities. Woodstock is still paying a little bit more. But it brings it a little bit closer. So we just want to make sure that it doesn't flop completely for
Lincoln.
because they have a lot more development going on than Woodstock at this time. So, yeah, just to make sure. I mean, in theory, the more that comes on the tax roll, and more businesses or new homes, it spreads out as well, so. But we'll see.
Roberta, oh, sorry, I didn't mean to. What meeting do you need light? It's the 14th, correct?
Yes.
Okay, just want to make sure before I decide.
Are we not doing the winter thing for Milford stuff?
I don't know, we're not. I don't know, well, I don't know if anywhere else is. I don't know if the chamber's picking that up or their Friends of Rec or,
Are you talking about the winter?
yeah.
We're not
That's-
doing it?
I used to go.
I don't, I mean, Ellie didn't have time, I didn't have time. I don't know if it's something, I mean, you're already in the first week of December now.
Right.
And we had new businesses on Main Street that we didn't have time to work with.
Hmm.
We didn't have pegs anymore to set up in, so. By the time we were thinking about, none of us really had time.
Hmm.
So we talked with Ellie and we thought about maybe next year bringing it back. And getting like a committee to try to
Yeah.
help out.
Yeah.
Incorporate it with the. I think the lights,
Festival of Lights
lights.
and Lincoln and the holiday lights and there's a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
Did they do that this
Community
year?
Celebration.
Yeah, did they do the lights thing this year?
The festival of lights, yeah, I think it's coming up.
Is
that the one where they do
the trees?
Is it 10?
Yeah, I think it's this weekend.
This
Or no,
weekend.
no, the following weekend.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so.
I don't know, I mean, maybe Fadden's is still bringing in Santa, I don't know. Honestly,
I never participated in any of it anyway.
we did, I loved it, I really did.
We did it with.
I always worked until 7 or 8 o'clock on the night that it was at, so I just was like, oh, I'm tired and going home. Oh, yeah, look, people are doing stuff.
Rotary's doing, calorie and giving out food on the 16th. People who.
Yep.
need-
We meet
doing
at
that
Woodstock
Friday
and
night.
that's always fun.
And then Friends of Rec is doing the light judging thing.
Oh, they are. I haven't seen that. Where
Because
is
we
it?
haven't had it out yet. Are they doing that?
We tried, yeah, we're discussing it.
We just got, everything got so far
Yeah.
ahead of us. It just, yeah, and by the time,
That's done, I know what a timing.
Yeah, we're gonna try to put a little something together. Kim's gonna join us from the chamber on Friday
Oh, we should.
for that meeting.
Oh,
Yeah, so that maybe we can.
Do something.
Yep.
Yeah.
But the chamber does have an event going on right now, that's the shop local. It's usually shop local on Saturdays, like the small business
Yeah.
Saturdays, but they're doing it for the month long, and it's like this really cute shop local. They have like a snowflake and the
Yeah.
different businesses and
You gotta
a
find
little
it.
app that people can go and find and they purchase something. There's some, it's really cool. If you go on the chamber's website, Western White Mountains.
maybe we could just do like a Santa Day too, where we hire, we can get a Santa Day and just have Santa for a day for pictures or something.
We're gonna have a tree. With the, you
At
get
the
the,
common.
no, where you pull the tags here in
Community tree.
town, the community tree.
Oh, yes,
Okay.
yes, it's,
Okay.
there's, yes.
I have to
But
remember
I don't
that.
have my tags, but they're coming this week.
Okay.
They told me.
I was like, wait a minute, I have a tag.
They are coming. You'll have them probably when you come in next Wednesday.
Okay.
Hey, anything else? Do I have a motion to adjourn? Do I have a second? All those in favor say aye. Aye.